All right, so unless you've been living under a rock, you are very aware that this weekend we got one of the greatest rap battles in history. I got no problem saying that and no problem giving these guys credit. I think sometimes we can be prisoners of the moment a little too much and say that whatever is happening right now is like the greatest or best thing ever. But this was one of the greatest rap battles in history. It was awesome. I'm going to tell you who won. You already know. But I'm going to tell you how Kendrick Lamar defeated Drake. And we're going to talk about what's to come next for each of these guys. So let's get into it. So Kendrick Lamar, obviously, clearly has defeated Drake. I'm calling it. That's really not revolutionary. That probably wasn't even worth a bomb drop. But it deserved to be said out loud. Kendrick Lamar has won this thing clearly. And he won it clearly in three ways. There's three ways that Kendrick Lamar won this battle. He won it with content, he won it with strategy, and he won it with timing. Now, let's talk about each of those, okay? So, from a strategy standpoint, the strategy Kendrick Lamar used to defeat Drake was going back to back and back to back. So he pretty much used a similar strategy that Drake used to defeat Meek Mill. Now, he also came with the timing. The timing of the back to back was crucial because he waited. Okay, so Drake put out his, he did push-ups, and then he did tailor-made freestyle, right? So it was back-to-back. It seemed to be this long gap of time in which Kendrick Lamar wasn't responding, and it looked like Kendrick was just gonna take the L, like he was just gonna eat it. And listen, when you got one person just throwing shots at you and you're not responding, you're losing. You're losing. So 2 weeks ago, I was fully on board with the fact, where is Kendrick Lamar? Drake is eating you up. He is just hammering you, and you are doing nothing, saying nothing about it. Drake was absolutely winning at that point, right? Because again, he came out with push-ups, then he came out with the tailor-made freestyle, and at that point, he's just taunting, right? Just taunting, just poking you, saying you're scared to say something back. But then, oh my Lord, then it really jumped off when Kendrick came out with Euphoria. Oh boy. And he came out with Euphoria, and people spent days upon days analyzing every little point in Euphoria, because Drake, at the end of the tailor-made freestyle, he was just talking, and he said something like, oh man, you better come with some quadruple entendres, some stuff that I don't even understand. And damn it if he didn't. Because Kendrick, the stuff he said in Euphoria, people were just dissecting and talking about, oh, this means that, and that means this, and he probably means that. And the point is, people got so into trying to peel it apart, right? So it was all people were talking about. And then, while people were still dissecting and trying to break apart Euphoria, he came back with the 616 freestyle. Oh my God. What do you call it? 616 in LA, whatever he called it. But it was another one, right? Another one. And again, just digging at Drake, just poking at Drake, right? And so, boom, he hit him with the back-to-back. So now the momentum was clearly in Kendrick's favor, right? Drake put out a couple of things on Instagram. Oh, I'm coming back, whatever. And so people were waiting on the big comeback from Drake. They're waiting on the big comeback from Drake. And then finally, I believe it was Friday night when Drake dropped Family Matters. Now, when Drake dropped Family Matters, he had everybody buzzing, everybody talking. The Family Matters starts with, first of all, it starts with a teaser on Instagram of Drake freestyling over Kendrick Lamar's Buried Alive verse from Take Care. And it leads to the actual song, which is like 3 songs, right? So like, you gotta give Drake credit because he absolutely put in the effort on Family Matters to really hit Kendrick over the head. And he hit him over the head, right? He hit him over the head. He came back and, he defended all the stuff Kendrick was saying about him. Then he, doubled down on the short stuff. And he started accusing Kendrick Lamar of beating his baby's mama. Oh, boy. Oh, he got nasty with it. Not only did he accuse Kendrick Lamar of beating his baby's mama, he insinuated, maybe even directly just came out and said that one of Kendrick Lamar's kids is not his own. Yikes. These are nasty below the belt hits Drake was coming with. Okay. So people were going crazy. Of course, the Drake bots, right? The academics of the world, right? The Kai Cenats of the world. Everybody was going crazy. Oh, Drake, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And Drake had the world in the palm of his hands for about 30 minutes. Until Kendrick Lamar came back with Meet the Grams, and oh my God, Meet the Grams is one of the dirtiest, nastiest diss songs I've ever heard. Not even because of like language and curse words and MFs and all of that. It's just so harsh. So he starts off by he being Kendrick Lamar, he starts off by talking to Drake's son Adonis, right? He's saying like, hey, sorry, this guy's your dad. He doesn't teach you anything. He's not a good dad. This is terrible, right? Then he goes on to talk to Drake's mom, saying, hey, your son's a pretty bad person. I hope you're not enabling him. Then he goes on to talk to Drake's dad. He's like, yo, your son's a pretty bad person and I blame you. Oh, that was harsh. And then he goes with what was the big revelation of this song, or so we thought, which is that Drake was allegedly hiding an 11-year-old daughter. Oh, what a damning accusation. So he drops that on him, right? And then he comes back with a final verse of that song, just really talking about Drake, talking about all the bad things that he hates about Drake. Okay, so that one was tough to digest. Now, again, the strategy of it, right? He didn't even give us time to process Family Matters before he was right back on top of Drake, drowning him out with another freestyle. And at that point, I was like, woo, Drake is on the ropes. And then Saturday came and Kendrick dropped Not Like Us, and ladies and gentlemen, that was the knockout. It was over because, look, Not Like Us is a crazy bop. Okay, Not Like Us is it's a dance song, it's a club song, it's a party song. We saw people only hours after this song dropped at clubs and pool parties dancing along, talking about ho v ho, o-v ho. I'm like, dog, oh my God. At one point, he called Drake a freaky ass nigga, and that shit just that shit stuck in my head. I can't get freaky ass nigga out of my head. It's just, freaky ass nigga is not in and of itself a super original diss, but it's funny when you say it funny. You know what I mean? And he just called Drake freaky ass nigga, better watch. And I'm like, dog, oh man. Yo, so once he dropped Not Like Us, to me, this thing was over because, look, again, not only did he drown you out, but he made it a bop. It's one thing to drop a lot of insults and drop a lot of disses, but he made it a bop. So people are going to be partying, stepping, as they're saying, O-V ho. Yo, bro, Kendrick crushed it, bro. Crushed it. And you know how we got the proof? Because the day after Not Like Us was rocking for at least a full day, Drake came back with The Heart Part 6. And I gotta tell you, my first reaction when I saw that Drake dropped the Heart Part 6 was, dog, I'm tired. I'm tired. I didn't want to hear it. It's not that I didn't want to hear it. Of course I wanted to hear it. I listened to it, but I was like, bro, like, I'm exhausted. I still got freaky ass nigga in my head. I'm still on Not Like Us, right? I'm still rocking with it. And now you came back with this. So I'm like, all right, you got to be fair. You got to be objective. You got to give it a listen and see what Drake is talking about. So I give it a listen, and I got to tell you, man. Whoo, buddy. Listen, it's not like Drake missed. He didn't miss in the sense of, like, none of the raps were bad. He didn't choose bad beats. You know, he didn't say corny lines per se. But at that point, we just didn't want to hear it. We didn't care. Drake spent the whole Heart Part 6. First of all, he made fun of Kendrick Lamar for allegedly being molested. And bro, come on, man. Like, that feels a little out of bounds. Like, if somebody makes fun of you for having a bad rap deal, okay, that's one thing. If somebody makes fun of you for being a bad father, that's another thing. If somebody makes fun of you for sleeping with your baby mom, or your baby mom sleeping with somebody else, having kids out of wedlock, okay, boom, those are all things to embarrass you. But you're going to try to bring up a nigga's alleged childhood trauma? Boo you, Drake. That was trash. To me, that was a trash move. That was a trash move, and it said to me that you are hurt. It said Drake is hurt. And if you listen to his voice, the tone of his voice, and even at the end of it, when Drake just starts talking, he's basically like, all right, this was fun. And basically saying he's done with it. So he implied that he's done with this. And if you are implying that you're done, when you put out a response, people don't seem to care about the response. It's not hitting. It's not resonating. And we are also still actively rocking to the last diss that came your way. Brother, you lost. You lost. There's no other way to paint that. There's no other way to paint that. And listen, if you are paying attention to the conversation in the sphere about this battle, the only people who are saying things like Drake is up, or Drake's still in this, Drake's got to come back one more time, the only people who are saying that are two people. There's the dedicated Drake loyalist that you know, might be yourself, but there's also the other person is the media person who doesn't want to offend Drake, doesn't want to burn any bridges, and is hoping to not damage a relationship with Drake. So those are the only two people. And think about it. Think of anybody who you know that is saying either Drake is up, or Drake didn't get killed, or yada, whatever. The only people who are saying that are media people with relationships to protect and people who are avowed Drake loyalists. And to that, I say, move on. It's time to call it. It's time to call it. It's time to call it. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. It's time to move on. And speaking of moving on, let's talk about what's next for these guys, okay? Let's talk about what's next for these guys. First off, let's give both of these guys a huge shout out for stepping up to the plate and having, like I said, the greatest rap battle of all time, okay? I'm calling this the greatest rap battle of all time because it's not about the bars. Maybe you can find songs that have better bars, but we used to have to wait weeks and months between rounds and verses and songs in a rap battle. They gave us 4 days of exhaustion and excitement. And even honestly, if we're going all the way back to when the Metro Boomin song dropped, that was, what are we talking about? The course of like 3 weeks here? 3 weeks, maybe a month? Over the course of a month, we've gotten 6, 7, 8 songs. I don't even know how many. And it has been phenomenal. It has been phenomenal. This has been beyond entertaining, and you guys meaning Drake and Kendrick, you guys both stepped up to the plate. You didn't shy away. You didn't run from the smoke. Unlike my great, one of my favorite rappers, J. Cole. Oh my God, J. Cole. J. Cole is probably the only person that really took a real bad L in this. Actually, that's not true. He didn't take as bad an L as Drake took. But by just taking the knee and bowing out, it just looks so bad. And I'm going to tell you why it looks bad. I'm going to sidebar this for just a second. Excuse me, while I just go ahead and do this. So, if you are J. Cole, right? The whole reason why we like you is because we listen to you rap and we're like, oh my God, this guy is so good at rapping, right? And we love the raps. And then, amongst all the great bars and metaphors and all this other stuff, you always drop in if a rapper ever try me, ... And as fans who listen to it, like, yo, he's killing that. If a rapper ever tries him, ... Right? Well, a rapper tried you. A rapper tried you, and sir, you did nothing. Not only did you do nothing, you did worse than nothing. You did worse than nothing. You dropped a very, very light jab, which I thought was pretty good, by the way. The little line about to pimp a butterfly, putting people to sleep, but they gassed it anyway. That was facts. That was facts. That one line had the timeline on fire. And the rest of it, again, very light jabs. I know Cole could do so much worse, but to come out on stage and then apologize and basically tap out of this beef, bro, the problem is residually, right? Now, how do we look at J. Cole and listen to anything he says? Because again, your whole thing is, I'm so good at rapping, check out these dope raps. And if somebody ever tries me, okay? And somebody tried you. And so now you don't have that anymore. You cannot be the same person you are as a rapper now. So like, that's tough. That's tough. Unless J. Cole comes out and gets into a beef with somebody and absolutely slaughters and destroys him, J. Cole has stripped himself of his own credibility when it comes to rap, which is crazy. It's crazy to me. I hate to say that. Because I love J. Cole. I'm a big J. Cole fan. I have bought every J. Cole album. I have every J. Cole album. Like, bro, like J. Cole, I think is dope. If you ask me who's the best rappers out rapping right now, to me, J. Cole is number one. But again, when your whole thing is, I'm so good at rapping, and if somebody ever tries me, ... You got to back it up. You got to back it up. And not only did you not back it up, you backed out, you backed away. And for that, my brother, you take an L. So J. Cole takes the bad L here. Drake takes the embarrassing L here. But what really changes for both of these guys? I'm going to say nothing. I'm going to say nothing really changes for Drake. Nothing really changes for Kendrick Lamar. As you're going to see in your circle and in your timeline with all of the Drake loyalists who you know, they're not going to stop listening to Drake, right? And all of the Kendrick loyalists, they're not going to stop listening to Kendrick because he's got beef with Drake or had beef with Drake or however you want to say it. Neither one of these guys is going to lose any fans. Kendrick might pick up a few more fans because they see he can make these bops, which he's made some bops before. But this might get him a little more rotation. He might get a little more mainstream notoriety about this. But again, he didn't have that much to gain because Kendrick Lamar is already critically acclaimed, right? Like, Kendrick Lamar performed at I think it was halftime of the national championship game a couple years ago. Like, he's not like a small rapper looking to do a come up. This is not David versus Goliath. This is Goliath versus Goliath, right? Like, these two dudes are both giants, and neither one of them is going to really lose anything from this battle. But I will say this. I think that Kendrick laid bare a couple of things that people have always felt about Drake, but have never really acted on. Like, a lot of people got this culture vulture vibe from Drake, which I'm somebody who believes, as black people, we got to do a good job about making space for black people who come from different types of backgrounds, right? Like, not all black people are from the same areas. We don't all grow up the same. We didn't all grow up in the same type of churches or religions or any type of, thing like that. Some of us come from middle-class backgrounds. Some of us come from abject poverty. Some of us come from Carlton Banks rich backgrounds, right? I think as black people, we got to do a better job about making space for everybody. But I think the thing that got laid bare in this battle was not so much that we don't make space for Drake. It's that we feel Drake is just cosplaying with his blackness. And that's a big difference, right? Again, it's not, aha, you're light-skinned, aha, you're mixed. It's not none of that. It's, bro, you are a whole Canadian from the suburbs. You grew up in Jewish schools, and you felt like an outsider around these kids that you were going to school with. And one day you discovered American blackness, it feels like, and you decided to put this on as a costume. People see it and they feel it. And it's not that Rick Ross didn't make this up. Kendrick Lamar didn't make this up, right? This is what people have always seen about you, but people they're afraid to go against the wave, right? Because Drake had the wave of coolness. He was working with all the most popular artists. That Young Money cosign is the greatest thing that ever happened to Drake. Let's be honest. Getting his foot in the door with Lil Wayne, who was the hottest rapper at the time. And listen, to Drake's credit, he's been killing everything he's been on, right? Like, it's not like Drake's been out there putting out whack music and people have just been accepting it. Drake's been making great music, but we have been overlooking the fact that, like, who is Drake, right? Like, who is Drake? The person who he was in 2010 wasn't the person he was in 2013, and it wasn't the person he was in 2016, and it wasn't the person he is now, right? Like, Drake becomes different versions of blackness that is convenient for him at any given time, depending on whatever type of vibe he's trying to sell. And this is something that everyone has seen, right? They just haven't wanted to go against it because Drake got the hits, Drake got the vibes, Drake got the wave, right? And nobody wanted to go out on a limb and go against the person that everybody's backing. Because, again, like, a rap battle is not about who's the better rapper. It's not about who's the better artist. It's not about who makes the better songs. A rap battle is an insult contest. Okay? You are trying to insult and embarrass your opponent, and you're working for oohs and ahs from the crowd. And the moment that your opponent makes the crowd go, damn, and you can't respond with something that also makes the crowd go, damn, you have lost. You've lost. And that's for every rap battle in the history of rap battles. That's how this thing works, okay? And so Kendrick, by using the strategy of going back to back and then back to back, he completely drowned Drake out, which was just masterful from a strategy standpoint. Just the strategy was perfect. And that's why Kendrick defeated Drake, right? Drake's not going to lose any fans. Kendrick's not going to lose any fans. But you know who's the real winners here? It is us. Give it up for us. That's right. That's right. Because we got all this music that's going to last and it's going to live forever unless they take it down like J. Cole did his verse. His verse that he said against Kendrick. It was a 7-minute drill, but it doesn't exist anymore on Apple Music. And so unless somebody does that, this music is going to live forever, and we're always going to be able to go back and remember the great rap war of 2024. So Kendrick and Drake, thank you.